Okay, James is back from running away. I've decided we were going to edit it, but we're not going to. I'm just going to leave it in a wonderful 2 parts. So he's literally just ran back off stream, making some dead mum jokes.
Yeah.
Which, you have made a career out of, which is...
Well, I did say we want to concentrate on the players, but the last segment, if you recall, if you watched it, definitely wasn't about the players. But we do love our mums, so we want to give them some airtime as well.
No, that's fair play.
That's why we're here.
So this might be a bit more controversial, a bit more, if not, it's not really topical, but I definitely want to pick your brains about it. That is your thoughts about MLG, because I know, we talked after that ridiculous stream where you got kind of kicked off, and we're going back a while. And since then, I noticed you haven't kind of done a lot of work.
Well, I never did work before with MLG. Yeah. That was the first time, and it was Slasher that put me in that, position. But it's like I didn't mind being kicked off, and I actually offered to come back on the stream. I was like, I don't care, But it's like I can understand, there's rivalry between all the top leagues and producers, and it's a friendly rivalry in a way, competitive rivalry, rather than they want everyone to die and burn. It's more like we just want to be better than you, and that's great. So MLG, if you mentioned something about DreamHack, back then they weren't, but now they actually do. They're really kind of like, they mention other people's tournaments and mention what's going on, and they kind of see. You can't control everything.
Is that not a change born from necessity though, rather than how they'd like it?
It's definitely, I think it's a necessity. Yeah. If you want to be taken seriously within the industry, we're not TV. We're not like, everybody in, this country won't hear about DreamHack because they only get broadcast in this country like TV does. We're on the internet, so we know everything. So when we hear that, most of the viewers are like, what's the point of not mentioning the tournament, or saying over in Germany, which is what they used to say when they talk about ESL. Yeah. It's a necessity change, and I just think that MLG, one of my favorite companies within esports for what they do in terms of tournaments, production, etc. I think they're great at that, and I do, generally like the people that work there, because at the end of the day, outside of competition, they're just, the same as us over here in Europe. Don't really know how to counter that point. I was going to say something, but it was kind of like it takes them a little bit longer to catch on to what the community want. It feels like image is very important in esports. You're only really as good as your last event. Yeah. DreamHack adapt very quickly to image. I like to think that I'm up to date on what should be going on stream, what's entertaining, and etc. And I feel that MLG just take their time maybe about it, because they need a high production value behind it, but sometimes just doing the right thing now is more important in esports. So I think MLG, a little bit slow on the uptake of what is image.
Okay. I want to kind of try and draw the veil back a little bit on you, because I kind of don't think the Too Good we see on our screens, on our streams, I don't really think that's kind of the whole picture. I think you project in a way that you're a kind of down-to-earth, a little bit goofy kind of guy, but really you must have a pretty good business brain behind all of that. How much of the Too Good persona is the real you, and how much do you hide from the viewers?
The Too Good persona as the real me is me if I wanted to be just, if I have conversations with people, I like it to be to the point. I like people who can laugh at themselves, and I certainly do it myself. And, so the on-screen camera of me, it might seem a little bit crazy, and it might seem like, oh yeah, this guy can't be taken seriously. Why would I ever invest money in that guy? It looks like he might just go and spend it all on whiskey. But in reality, I keep 3 businesses running. Behind it, I work with sponsors, I keep sponsors happy, I pursue new sponsors, I'm responsible for 7 paychecks every month, and that all has to come down to me, as well as the on-screen stuff. So I'm actually, as far as a worker goes, I still have a conflict with saying it to myself, where I kind of will vision what I want with the projects and where they go, but because I'm so concentrated on following what I think trends and where I feel like it would be fun to work in, and when I design shows, I have to think about many different things. It's like, is it going to be a a heavy production show where it has to be very polished and it's going to be hard work for all the team before that goes live, or are we going to make something with a lot more freedom and the content has to come back to a lot more reaction from the people on the shows? And so I have to design the shows where they excel in different areas. So our Learn to Play series, compared to our tournaments, compared to our talk show, they're all designed to be different, and we're going to add more shows. So I end up doing all this, and then I present it to the team, which is like Trance, Semler, Webpaz, Scriff, McCormick, Apollo, and then basically they just give me the feedback if they want to be on something like that, and they also bring show ideas to me. So I'm always constantly thinking, and they sometimes people hate it within the studio because I don't set a great example if I'm playing Diablo 3 and they're like working and they're like, what are you doing? And I'm like, well, I'm mindlessly killing shit, but actually I've got a stream up here which I'm listening to and they're giving me ideas, and I'm thinking about my meeting tomorrow and trying to figure out. And then eventually, when it's nice and quiet in the evenings at the studio, if we're not doing a show, I'll write everything down that's kind of come to me and where I want to go with the project. So definitely, that's why I struggle to say, like, I feel like I'm more of a strategizer within the industry rather than actually someone that does something, which is why I surround myself with a team which are a lot better than me in different areas. Like Trance, literally, the vision I had for this, he executed it. Like Trance, it was so much credit to him because he was very angry at me at times because he was doing so much and I was having to fly off, have meetings here and there, and it was really all on him. So he can take all the credit.
Well, I guess another way of putting the same question would be kind of, right, let's imagine I'm the biggest Too Good fan in the world. I know it's a stretch, okay? Okay, so I'm the biggest Too Good fan.
No, it's true.
I'm the biggest Too Good fan in the world, and I've won a competition to spend a weekend with you. 24/7, 24/2. I get to follow you around for the entire time, watching what you do, shadowing what you do. Am I going to be disappointed in what I see?
Depends if you have a Diablo 3 account, I guess. No. It depends. Like, if someone wanted to spend a whole weekend with me and to see what I did in work-wise, and I was preparing for the next week, which you would probably hear all my conversations, all my strategies, what I'm thinking about going into this meeting, why I might want investment, why I don't want investment, which is another thing that's coming up for us, and I've been, going over for a whole month in my head. And then hopefully you'd be like, okay, this guy definitely feels like he's not going to mess up with anyone's money, with anyone's reputation, and he's really making sure that the decisions are the right decisions. So I would hope that someone, normally people, like, it's hard to say, but normally the guys that work around me are always impressed that whenever I say I would do something, I would do it. And that was new to a lot of people. Like, when I joined Sunlock Studios, I was like, look, I can't change the game. I can make little tweaks here and there to be more esporty. But you came out of university, so don't expect everything on a plate. But I will get you best played on Alienware. And I will get you these PCs, and I will get you SteelSeries in-game tournaments, and I will take you to DreamHack, and I will get all the top World of Warcraft players to play. And I always deliver what I promise to people. So I think that's, people realize I do stay to my word, and basically I do know kind of what I'm doing with either my resources or other people's if I have the option to play with them. So hopefully they wouldn't be disappointed. Okay. And there might be a few parties.
Right. Good. Given how much you put into Bloodline Champions, were you disappointed by its failure?
I was disappointed by, I have to say honestly, I was disappointed a little bit about why Funcom's expectations on the game was a lot higher than anyone else's. When they presented to me the figures of what they think would sell, I was like, actually, you're not going to get near that. And so when I was spending money in esports from Funcom, I was bringing back a healthy return for the investment I put in, because I always, I countered the offer whereby we took it to DreamHack. I would do a little bit of hosting and help them with a little bit here to keep the price down as much as possible, and I would have support from Twitch TV. They sponsored some stuff. So I kept the price points down as much as possible so we could continue doing stuff. But I just felt that they were expecting too much, and when it wasn't as big as they were expected, because they were expecting anything free to play to be League of Legends size or something, I was a little bit disappointed by them. But for the whole Stunlock Studios team, I think the game was a success. $250,000 to make. First year they would have done over $1 million on the game with the free to play and going on Steam. So they were very happy, and I think that I didn't waste anyone's money getting the name in esports, because the fact is you're still asking me the question about Bloodline Champion. So
Exactly.
the name was there, and if the game didn't go up to the thing is, I do believe that the game maybe didn't go up to as high as it needed for esports. I think that esports was kind of here, and sometimes StarCraft 2 has come in like here.
Yeah.
And I think that Bloodline Champions missed the mark where enough people would take it on for it to naturally grow. But I took it as close to the mark as possible, you know, and then I think some of the game, how it played, and, you know, it was designed out of university. I think if they had that big of a success, they would be literally over the moon, but I think they're still very happy, so.
Okay. Penultimate question, because I know obviously you're pressed for time, as we saw in the earlier
Obviously
segment.
not, because my answers are fucking long.
But that's what I liked about it. You said, "Oh, I'll do a quick interview with that first question."
It is over 2 whole games now. I've come back.
Okay, but because I know you're a playing speaker and you're one of the few people I think I could ask this question and get an answer, who's the biggest asshole you ever met in esports?
Oh, God, yeah. Biggest asshole I ever met in esports. Biggest megalomaniacs, we can go first,
Okay.
is by far me, Sundance, and Robert Olin from DreamHack.
Right.
We are the biggest megalomaniacs. Biggest...
Like just straight out asshole,
Yeah,
the guy you really dislike being in a room with. I know it's hard because you don't want to burn any bridges. No one wants to burn bridges.
Like,
Well,
I
what
don't
is-
give a fuck. If I knew somebody that I really just didn't like the fucking look of, I would tell you. But the trouble is like, honestly, esports is one of the best industries to work in because everyone is literally fucking nice.
Yeah.
But biggest asshole, I'm just trying to think. Tosspot's a bit of a twat.
Yeah. Go on.
Yeah.
How come?
Well, he's not. He's actually a nice guy. But the thing is, for me and Tosspot, right? The thing is, I always get the feeling that he thinks I'm a bit of a twat.
Right, yeah. So it's one of those.
So that, because the thing is like, he sees me as that on-screen personality. I think, where he thinks I'm just like, and then, like I in the UK scene, I started later than everyone else. I started probably later than you. So I jumped out of England to Germany and then Sweden, and I kept on wanting to do more and more, and I really worked hard to come up. And then I still think some of the people from multiplayer that remember me from when I was just that little crazy Quake gamer that had a cheeky gob on him, they look at me the same way. So I feel that Tosspot definitely, I could be completely wrong. He could love me for all I know. I don't know. He could be on my Facebook every night.
Maybe you could get your parents organise a play date, smooth it all
I
over.
definitely think Tosspot thinks, I'm a little bit of a twat. And so naturally, the conversations we have, because I'm really arrogant sometimes in conversation, where I'm like, I want to do this and I want to do that, and Tosspot is just like, he listens to every word I say and would just be like, that's very stupid, like that kind of impression. But the thing is, if he thinks I'm a twat, it's probably because I'm a twat. So I'm probably actually bigger twat than he is.
It turns out you're the biggest
I am
asshole.
actually the biggest asshole in esports.
Okay.
And Tosspot's just
Not a bad accolade.
a white knight.
Okay.
Trying to keep me down.
Right. So, final question. I just want to ask you about Good Studios, where it's all headed, what we got next, and I'll give you a little bit of my views on it. I mean, I think production-wise, it's excellent. I really like what you've done. I think you've raised the bar. I think you're starting to find your feet on the show now. Like, I watched the first one, back when you had the net problems and it was going down, and but also as well, I thought you guys were still sort of a bit like, all right, we've got the show, what the fuck are we going to do? And it feels like it's growing and developing, so where are you headed next with it?
Okay, so basically, my design for the studio was bring people I like. Whenever I pick a commentator and I want to invest money into him, which I have with all the guys, I always say, do I like your personality as a person? Because if you do, it normally comes through on screen. So Semler, even though he can do some fucked up shit, if you actually meet him normally, he's like such a really nice guy.
He's a great guy.
Yeah, he is. And I designed the first amount of shows to last 6 months, okay? So everything you see was meant to be a 6-month schedule. Now, I've already got bored in 3 months, okay? Which basically means, Titan almost walked in front of the camera there. Basically means we're actually going to come back from Asus ROG. All the shows that we've done, we're going to keep. I've rewritten them in a slightly better way, a little bit more production value to them, and we're building a new studio, which will potentially be a second studio, and we're going to up our value, because I believe entertainment, I believe that esports isn't just esports about the games, it's esports entertainment, where it has to definitely entertain as well as give you what you want. It needs to get, your personalities can be more like TV personalities, but a bit crazier. And basically, we're just going to take it up. I've written a few new shows. They're not going to be... The trouble is with my few new shows is right now is they're not just esport tournaments. They're kind of, some of them are based off where people's personalities have gone within the studio and the fact that we have become like a group of personalities.
Are we getting close to an esports sitcom?
Oh yeah, no, God no. So what I'm doing is I've written a couple of those shows, but I won't want to introduce them until I can also go and up our prize money, because right now we do about $1,000 tops in prize money, and I'm looking to do 10,000. It's because I would like to separate our production value from everyone's doing 1,000 and the big tournaments are doing 30,000. I want to kind of place us in the middle, and with these tournaments have really good online content, but then also bring people to the house for LAN finals. And I would definitely like to do LAN finals firstly for Quake, Dota and StarCraft 2. And I know, without saying any spoilers, I've already secured the StarCraft 2, with the good studio at LAN, and I'm working on the Quake and also the Dota. So we're trying to up it a little bit more.
I know I said it was the last question, but I got. Why do you? Come on, man. Quake is dead. Let the dream die, brother. It's over, surely.
Not really.
No, because I know QuakeCon's going on right now, and it's probably being overshadowed by an event like this.
But the thing is like you got to remember, if you put your money in the right place and put the right amount in, you won't be disappointed, because with every esport game there is a community there that will appreciate what you do. Same with, I would happily do stuff for Counter-Strike if I had a little bit additional, but right now unfortunately I don't. But what I'm saying is like all the esport games don't need to just fade away because StarCraft 2 is massive and League of Legends is huge. People, if they work correctly with their expectations in terms of what the return is going to be, then sure. Because I'm trying to bring, Zotac Cups?
Yeah.
All right. Zotac is now finished for Quake Live, and it was €400 a month. Okay. I'm going to try and bring that back. All right. I've already spoke to a couple of sponsors, and I'm not asking for anything more from the sponsors than €600 a month. So €400 goes in prize money. I will get an external commentary team to do it, which they normally didn't get paid to do Zotac, and just throw them €50. There's no profit in it for the studio, but there is branding profit in terms of marketing. There is the fact that the Quake Live community do still deserve that tournament because there's still players playing actively and want to compete. And I know that that sponsor doesn't want to invest more, most likely, than $1,000 a month in Quake Live, because the amount of people watching or the return wouldn't be greater than that. But I'm not looking as Quake Live as the only thing that will run the good studio and the business. We also have other things. So we try and support everything, and we do, of course, obviously our first LAN, if we do it at the studio, is going to be StarCraft 2 for a reason, because that's what sponsors want most, and that will also generate the ability to say, hey, yes, we did this, and because we spent all this equipment, spent money on this equipment to make the StarCraft 2 happen, we now have it left over. So if we got a free weekend, why not see if we can do something for Quake Live or Dota or something else? So I think the fact that we're a jack of all trades, the good studio, that we can still help out other stuff, and that's important.
Okay, well, it's been great catching up with you. It's been a long time. I know you've been busy.
I know you've been busy on Twitter as well. Have you started any fights on Twitter recently?
I've kind of been advised not to do that so much.
Really?
Yeah.
I liked you for that, because honestly, it's hard to find people that actually say what's on their mind. Yeah. Because I can say what's on my mind now, in a sense, because
you've got autonomy. Exactly.
And so the thing is, if so I'm not scared of pissing someone off if I feel like they did something really wrong, or, because you had that guy that was asking for donations for real journalism and stuff like that.
Oh, the Chobo peon shit, man. That was a joke, though.
He's a nice guy, but that was blatantly the wrong fucking way to go about it. And and you had the right to say, and I think everyone did. And the fact is, you put it out there bluntly. That's trans telling me to stop talking shit. And so don't step back from that.
I won't step back from ever ripping on anyone who deserves it, but
if I fucked up at this event, right? If my team fucked up this event,
I'd give you a little kick on the way down. Of course I would. What are friends for?
But that's because I fucked up.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we haven't fucked up yet.
I think it's more about like don't attack Sir Scoots for the baseball bat shit he did like 14 years ago.
What?
You don't know about this? He used to stand behind CS teams with a baseball bat. That was his gimmick. It was called the peeking bat. And if anyone peeked, he'd like pretend to hit them in the bat. And it was like that's how he got started in esports, right? And like we're not supposed to talk about this anymore because he's like a big shot now. But like,
yeah, but come on.
But he's always talking about like,
yeah, he can talk
like,
about anything, Scoots. He can laugh at himself. You know, he'll give me as much shit if I give him. But at the end of the day, it's like, okay, yeah, we can look at it in a super serious way where, oh, if we do this, you know, CBSI, who are the new people behind, you know, the ad buys, they won't buy adverts on these particular channels.
Yeah, exactly,
but at the same time, you can build a business model from streaming outside of advertisement. I mean, we hardly run any ads on the studio side. We have subscribers, and that's one of the new things we're going to focus on the studio is doing more for our subscribers, because at the end of the day, it's like, you know, obviously, it's, you know, that's why we continue to doing what we do. If no one subscribed or no one watched, I'd be entertained.
Fuck it.
Yeah, I'd be entertained. I'd still do it.
Just be you in a room.
Yeah. So you can be who you want in esports, and you know, still exist. And so I did tone myself down a lot.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I think I'm the same old asshole. I'm just kind of smoothing some of the rough edges off.
Well, yeah, and I think I also said to the guys at the Good Studio, I was like, look, I shouldn't be on camera more than 3 times a week, because I'll get bored and then I'll go crazy, and when I get bored on camera, I do really stupid stuff. And at the same time, my kind of humor and entertainment isn't your morning show every day that you want to tune into, in the sense of too much of me would be bad. And so you have to work with your image as well in terms of when you're doing stuff and when you're not. And I tell Apollo that as well. I was like, look, you can't do every event. Because at every event, everyone's going to start taking you for granted, even though you're a great commentator, and they get bored of you. Pick the events that you would like to do, but also don't do too little, because if you do too little,
people forget about you.
Yeah, they forget about you, and you might offer so many more opportunities for someone to come take your job. And you got to think about, okay, if you want to stay in this industry, do the right things at the right time, but I don't know. I don't think you should tone it back. I like you this way.
Okay, well, I'm glad someone does. Anyway, I guess that means we'll wrap it up there. It's great to talk to you again, honestly. And to all the people out there at cadred.org, I hope you enjoyed this interview. It is a legend. We could talk for hours, no doubt, but he's a very busy man.
Yeah, even though cadred.org, right, when I first started casting Counter-Strike, right, Source, fuck, I was shit. And the thing is, because I sat with Joe Miller, who's a legend, and I was like, Counter-Strike Source, I was like, I have no idea how to cast this. And I came on, I thought, what can I offer to the show? And I was like, I'll just try and be funny or something, because I don't know any tactics. And I tried to be funny, and holy shit, was I not funny. I was really bad. And then I kind of learned from that. Because I'm quite good on camera now.
You owe the Cadred community for kicking you in the balls, I guess, then.
No, it was nice that I read the Cadred feedback. They were like, "You are a complete wanker," and I was like, yeah, that's actually. And I rewatched the VODs, and I was just like, I would be very annoyed watching this guy. And so I just thought, well, okay, I'll go back to the Counter-Strike Source. I'll just commentate straight. Normally, I can't offer much insight, but I pay as much attention to the game. And then when I started offering something decent to the community, you know, and Cadred and other, you know, sites, then I was allowed to add a little bit of my sense of humor in there. And then eventually, when people got to know me, they were okay with me being sometimes a little bit more me than, you know, what I was back then. So thank you, Cadred community, for whipping me. They did.
Yeah,
but
they whip everyone. They're still kicking the shit out of me. Yeah, mainly UK.
Yeah, exactly.
Big part.
I mean, even if this interview, we're gonna get slated. Yeah, doesn't even matter.
No doubt. Used to it. Anyway, do stay tuned to the website. We're gonna have more interviews like this one. But yeah, perhaps not as long and as rambling and as incoherent. Who knows? But from here at Assembly Summer 2012. Stay tuned.